Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks so much for tuning into the 4554 podcast. I'm your host, Nick Eden, and we're back with another show. So, all right, guys, I gotta tell you, um, this episode is going to start off with a little bit of a rant. And it's got everything to do with the fact that in the midst of trying out all of these different print on demand platforms, I've gotten some great and I've gotten some not so great. And don't get me wrong, we're still going to talk about Teespring. We're still going to talk about the good of Teespring. We're going to talk about some of the old bad of Teespring and the new bad of Teespring. But I do have to start off with another platform that's not a marketplace, but a fulfillment service. And that's Shirtly. And let me give you the backstory on it. So in relaunching, I have several Etsy stores. One of them is digital products. One of them was a general store that I've since rebranded. Another one was a specialty store that was based around politics. I've since rebranded that. And so in the process of rebranding all these stores, and I actually shut them down for a while, what I did was I said, okay, when I first decided I'm going to get back into the Etsy game, I was looking at fulfillment, and how fulfillment worked in this pandemic age. And the one thing that I think every one of us who have worked with him experiences that there's an extra long wait time when it comes to Printful. Printful has always been my default on all of my print on demand stores that were, not merged by Amazon or not Teespring or Redbubble. And so seeing that, I started looking around for alternatives. And in my research, I came across Shirtly. And I had some, there was initially a lot of great reviews, and I said, okay, well, we'll give it a shot. And so I put things off on my Etsy store until about a little over a month ago. We're talking like early to mid September with this particular store. So I go in, I rebrand it, and I say, okay. At that point, I was pretty sure I'm going to go with Shirtly. But ironically, I said, let me test it out, but let me test it out in a way because they had these twill hats that I really liked. And actually, you've seen me wear this type of this style of hat before. It's really comfortable. I love the way it looks. I love the way it fits. I love the quality, and they had that available. And so I said, okay, well, no better way to test out the quality of Shirtly than to order a hat that I'm going to use on my platform. And so I ordered a twill hat, baseball cap style, with the 4554 podcast logo on it. I placed this order in the last week. No, was it the third week? Possibly the third week of September. It was in the 20s. And about 7 days later, I got the notification that it had been printed and it had been shipped. And its estimated delivery date was October 2nd. So I said, all right, well, it'll be here just about in time. And if you guys have watched me on YouTube with the video version of the 4554 podcast, you've seen my shirt, Niches Get Riches. It's my 4554 podcast branded shirt. And so I ordered that shirt off of merch, and it was supposed to arrive the same time as my hat. So I was really excited because I'm like, okay, I'll have my shirt, I'll have my hat, and then it's going to be great having my hat. And I'm so upset about it. I'm not even wearing a hat this week. You guys know I wear a hat every week. I was like, I'll have my shirt and my hat. This will be some great consistent branding for the podcast because I wear hats every day. Every single day I wear hats. Today is October 23rd, and the cap has not arrived. So, the process for trying to contact Shirtly is one of the worst that I've ever encountered. Absolute worst. But I did my due diligence first. So I got the shipping number, and it was being shipped by DHL. which I had my reservations about because I've had issues with them before. And so naturally, I assumed that on the 7th, when the hat had still not arrived, this had to be DHL because I've had these issues with DHL before. Okay. So I give DHL a call and I give them the tracking number. Oh, first I click the link to do the tracking. Tracking said the shipping label had been created on the 28th. And that it was being processed. And that was the last update I had. So I give DHL a call. And to their credit, after going a couple of rounds, I finally get to someone. And the gentleman tells me, well, this is what we're seeing on this end. The shipping label was created. And it was never sent. They just created the label. They never took it to the, to the shipping place to have it sent off or anything like that. The last thing we got is that the shipping label was created. I said, okay, this has got to be an issue. So I go back to the Shirtley website, and let's just say that was on October 7th, and it is now October 23rd. And I still do not have this cap. And it is nearly impossible to get anyone from Shirtley on. I was actually about to put my entire Etsy store, this brand new one, for a great genre niche. I've been hanging around other circles, and so I've learned that a lot of products have been categorized as genres. New to me, but I guess it's just kind of rubbed off on me. But for these purposes, brand new Etsy store that I am about to put the entire shop under Shirtley. Imagine what would have happened in Q4 if hundreds of customers had the exact same issue. Who's going to get the bad reviews? Not Shirtley. My store. And on a hot niche, a really hot niche. And so, I'm glad that it happened. I hate that it happened, but I'm glad that it happened. And the entire store is back to Printful. And I know there are other platforms out there, but I got to be honest. I'm comfortable with Printful. I've done a lot of business with Printful over the years. Printful has been good to me. It's just that during the pandemic, they just could not fulfill the way I needed to fulfill. But Printful is back on track. And to me, this was one of those. You know what? That's what you get, Nick. You just should have gone with your first gut and waited out Printful and gone with it, because this would have been an absolute disaster. And it sucks because I really wanted that hat. So we're going to make another attempt. And I'm wondering if maybe on my YouTube channel, I should do this live. We'll see. We'll see. So that's my small rant about Shirtley. And if there's anybody out there, whether you're listening to this on a podcast, whether you're watching this on YouTube, if you had a different experience with Shirtley, I'd love to hear it. Maybe I just caught a bad day. Maybe somebody just screwed up and they didn't even realize it. Maybe the hat is sitting on someone's desk and they're no longer with the company. Whatever the case may be, this is what I do know. A month later, I still do not have my cap. And so maybe I'm thinking just, for those who watch the video version of this, maybe I just won't wear any other caps until that cap arrives. And then that'll allow me to be even more pissed off every week and continue to call out Shirtley until I receive my cap. We'll see. We'll see. So, but anyway, on to today's topic. Perhaps one of the most controversial print-on-demand platforms and marketplaces out there, Teespring. Now, there are people who love Teespring. There are people who absolutely detest Teespring. For a short time, and I say a short time, but really until like the emergence of merch, Teespring was the undisputed king of print-on-demand. Everyone was doing their Facebook ads and making legitimately, I have to say that Teespring is one of the only platforms, if not the only, with the exception of a couple exceptions on merch, that I have personally met legit millionaires. That's just me. And there's only been two, so it's not it's not like I met like a ton of millionaires. Just says that, because if that were the case, I just probably wouldn't be doing this podcast right now. But I'd be studying under them somewhere. But yeah, so it had the role of king for quite a while. And just by hook or by crook, as more platforms begin to emerge and it just kind of showed the chinks in the armor of Teespring, the the reputation, the bad press, as that began to rise, Teespring just kind of went lower in the totem pole. I've been a staunch supporter and advocate for Teespring, to the point where a lot of people in the merch community call me the Teespring guy. I will be honest, there were months, especially early on, where I vastly outsold my merch account on a daily basis just on my Teespring account. So I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and then the ugly of Teespring. And it's a little bit different format than I did for Spreadshirt. It's more of a freestyle format, because these are the things that I want you to know. It's not just three main points about it. So let's start with the good. So the good is Teespring has been around for quite some time. Teespring has a decent system that they set up for themselves, and it's worked. It's worked. They've been able to get a lot of products. They've been very transparent with their faults. One being their marketplace is just not that great in terms of organic traffic. And so they incorporated their extended marketplace that included places like Amazon and eBay and all these other places that, full disclosure, due to Teespring's extended marketplace, I've sold on those. And there are certain shirts that I know, like right now, I know that if I log onto my Teespring account right now, there's one shirt that I've been selling that around this time of year, without fail, I'm going to sell, probably at this point, maybe 2 or 3 a day. But when it was hot, man, we're talking about 10, 20 a day. So that's a good thing. Their extended marketplace, I think, is a good thing. I think they need to dig into it a little bit more. The great, their prices, my goodness. A $19.99 t-shirt, I'm making $10 on. A $39.99 hoodie, I'm making $19 on. So from a royalty standpoint, it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful, which is how I was able to sell out, oversell my merch account with my Teespring account, because if I sell 10 shirts in a day on merch at that time, I think it was like $7.19 for the royalty, but I was making like $11 per shirt. So, and then the speed of the payout. By the time the payment is actually gone through and it's completed, you can request that payout. Bam, it's in your PayPal address. You don't have to wait a net 30 for it. So that's wonderful. And it's especially wonderful for those times when, you're like, oh man, I'm a little low on cash. I need to front something, maybe I have some advertising that I need to do, whatever the case may be. So that is a great thing. Now let's talk the bad. Let's talk the bad. And I'm not one of those people to say that Teespring's marketplace is one of the bad. Again, Teespring is very good about letting people know they don't have the best organic traffic, and that's totally fine. And that's why they do have the things like the extended network, and they do have the things like okay, this is the contest, so we have a new platform that we're going to, and we need X amount, of designs for this, and so and I mean it's great. But let's talk about the bad. The bad is how things have deteriorated, especially over the last year. And I say this, and I'm glad that I took the time off that I took from print on demand, largely because I was able to look at it as if I were a new seller. If you're listening to this show or you're watching it on YouTube, you know that I have a love for new sellers. So I'm glad I'm able to look at it from that lens. But there are two main things that make Teespring bad. The first is the copycats. And it's gotten worse. And it used to be really good about, listen, we know that copycats are going to always be a part of print on demand. There's just no way around it. If you can't get over that, then this is not the business for you, because it's always going to happen. But the copycats, it seems like they've gotten worse. And it seems like the crackdown that Teespring was doing on them a long time ago was, it's just, I have seen more copycats now in the last couple of months than I've seen since I've been selling on Teespring in like 2015. And I think that maybe it's a situation because a lot of people are not paying attention to their Teespring accounts anymore, that the copycats have just been able to kind of run rampant. And when you don't check the marketplace, you're not looking there for research or anything like that. You look up and you see your stuff all over there. Even if you've already listed it on Teespring, I literally just saw a copycat right next to my listing on Teespring. I'm like, what happened to all this wonderful technology that they were touting that says, oh, we'll be able to detect it as it's uploaded? I'm like, it's sitting right next to my design. How the hell does that happen? But I digress. So the copycats have been pretty bad. The next thing is that one of the things that I heralded Teespring over merch was the fact that they had an active Facebook group with actual staff from Teespring. And this is where sellers could go in and we could really interact and really, I miss Bridget so much. Bridget and Kate. Was her name Kate? I think it was Kate, but definitely Bridget. We could go in and we can interact with them and get some real-time answers to our things, our issues. And I said, I was like, man, if we could get these type of real-time answers from merch, my God, where would we be right now? And the group is nearly non-existent. The last time I went in there just a few weeks ago, I think maybe the last post was a couple of months back. Not much engagement. At a certain point, they stopped with Teespring employees answering, and they designated other sellers in the group, as kind of these mini moderators. And I think that was the beginning of the end of it, because again, at that point, it's just sellers talking to sellers. And how can I come to you and tell you my problem and you're my competitor? And that's what kind of happened to that group. And I really miss the interaction in that group. I really miss being able to actually get some things accomplished, that human interaction. And we just don't have it anymore. And then there's the ugly, which is by far the biggest issue, and why, as I'm publicly proclaiming, unless it's addressed, I will not be uploading any more t-shirt designs to Teespring. And that sucks, because I've been on the platform for 5 years and I've made a good bit of money with Teespring, and I've introduced so many sellers to Teespring. And the quality of the shirts, the last shirt that I ordered from Teespring, I won't show you because it's going to reveal this genre / niche that I've, found a lot of success in. But what I will say is the shirt that I'm wearing right now, and obviously if you're on the podcast, you can't see it. And I'm not letting anyone see it on the YouTube channel. They can see a little bit of the top of it. I ordered this shirt the same time that I ordered the shirt from Teespring. As of right now, this shirt, which I ordered on merch, man, it looks brand new. It's amazing. It feels great. There's no wear and tear. The shirts have been washed the same amount of times. They've been worn the same amount of times. I rotate them, and I did it purposely. The shirt that I ordered from Teespring looks like I ordered it when I first started on Teespring in 2015. And that's what's crazy to me, that this shirt has deteriorated from July until October. And it's deteriorated so much, I can't even wear the shirt in public. And to be honest, I don't even wear it around the house. And it's got everything to do with the fact that every time I look at it, I get pissed off and I think about how many of my customers may have potentially gotten a shirt like this with the same quality. When you're branding a store, and I will say one of the advantages of Teespring was the storefront, but when you're branding a store and people buy, and you may do something like mask your domain so that it goes right to your Teespring domain, whatever the case may be, they are not going to remember that it's Teespring. They don't know the print on demand process. If I put Nick Eden ABC Apparel Co. as my brand, that is who they're going to blame for the shirt. And so now I can no longer trust what I thought was once a trusted partner for the last 5 years. Now, I will say there is one bright spot. Their mask. I ordered 5 or 6 different masks from them. They were quick. They were inexpensive. They have really lasted the test of time. So I could see continuing to sell masks on Teespring only because the quality has shown that it's good and it does hold up. But after this last debacle, I don't think I can ever trust them with shirts again. And hopefully that'll change. Hopefully that'll change because I really hate it. I like Teespring as a platform, or I did like it. And it kind of makes all my old videos where I'm just championing Teespring seem kind of crazy. You know, and I can hear now, if you guys remember Merch Talk, where it was myself, Joe, Margaret, and Jeff, I can look at the screen and see the look in Jeff's eyes every time I mention Teespring. And Chris too. Shout out to Chris. Big shout out to Chris. But you know, it's as we get further along into this print on demand journey, particularly with the apparel side, it's a shame when you see the brands and we've seen these shirt brands come and go. We've seen these platforms come and go, but to see one deteriorate the way that we've seen, or that I've personally seen with Teespring, it sucks. It sucks. So anyway, I didn't want this to be all doom and gloom, so I do want to talk about some bright spots when it comes to print on demand. So Shirtly and Teespring aside, I will say over the course of the last week on merch, I have not only seen a good increase of sales from myself, but I've seen some great increases. I've been watching Hella Bella videos on YouTube lately, and I'm really glad to see Hella Bella. She was one of the first merch content creators that I discovered when I was first getting to the journey. And I know she took some time off because she did a lot of, she still does a lot of FBA. She's doing real estate. And so I'm really excited because she's putting out some great merch content again. And, and I've been talking behind the scenes to some of your favorite classic, merch content creators about getting them on the channel, the YouTube channel, as well as some stuff on the podcast too. And I know that one of the big things when I decided to bring the podcast back was that I wanted to do additional content not listed on the podcast that will be on the YouTube channel. And so getting those things in order has really excited me and ignited me about this. I'll be honest with you. I almost did not take this journey again, and I almost did not continue this journey again. And if you notice, I did take a week off. And that's because the day job demands went up, and I had to get through this last week. And quite frankly, this stuff is not that easy to do. It's not that easy to do, but I did take a week off, which was great because I got a chance to re-energize myself. I'm in a much better place now. And so I'm really just pushing full steam ahead. I really want the 4554 podcast, as well as my YouTube channel, to be one of the go-to destinations for print on demand period. Not just merch, not just Redbubble, not just Etsy, period. And so I'll be bringing a lot of content, and a lot of people who I've recently discovered don't really go and speak to anybody else in the print on demand space. But luckily, I've gotten some great feedback from them. So look forward, if you are not already on my YouTube channel and subscribed, it's YouTube, Nick Eden, and you will see some more content in the coming weeks, and some unexpected faces, some brand new faces, some ones you haven't seen in years. And don't forget, in terms of my other social channels, Instagram at 4554 Podcast, Facebook, the 4554 Podcast. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, and remember this: you can make as much money as you want to in print on demand, but you have to press the go button. Take care, and I'll talk to you next time.